What if I told you that the most famous shipwreck in history, the sinking of the Titanic, was predicted? And I don't mean in some vague, dusty prophecy. I mean it was laid out in chilling detail in a book 14 years before the ship even sank. It's one of the strangest stories I've ever come across, so let's get right into it.
So everything starts back in 1898. An author named Morgan Robertson writes this short novel called Futility, and it kicks off with this line right here, a claim that this fictional ship, the Titan, was practically unsinkable. And that one sentence, that feeling of total invincibility, would come back to haunt the real world in the most devastating way imaginable. This is where our story begins.
So let's really set the scene here. We're in 1898. The real Titanic, it's not even a blueprint yet. It's not even a whisper of an idea. But in his mind, Morgan Robertson has already built his own version. He calls it the Titan. And in the story, this thing isn't just a ship. No, it's a symbol of mankind's ultimate triumph over nature, built entirely from ink and imagination.
I mean, listen to the language he uses. He calls it the largest craft afloat and the greatest of the works of men. You can just feel the pride dripping off the page, can't you? It perfectly captures that turn-of-the-century confidence, or maybe you'd call it arrogance, that idea that with enough steel and steam, we could build anything, conquer anything.
And this wasn't just poetic description. Robertson got specific. He gave his fictional ship hard numbers: 800 feet long, 70,000 tons, a cruising speed of 25 knots. He even gave it 19 watertight compartments, which was the cutting-edge safety tech of the day, the very thing that made it seem so invincible. Now, I want you to burn these numbers into your brain, because this is where the story starts to get really, really weird. All right, now we get to the heart of it. This is where we stop talking about a forgotten novel and start talking about one of history's most uncanny mysteries. We're going to put the fictional Titan right next to the real-life Titanic, and I'm telling you, the parallels are they're staggering. Okay, first, the most obvious one, the name, Titan, Titanic. It's almost the same name. And think about where that comes from, the Titans of Greek mythology, these incredibly powerful gods who were so full of pride that they challenged the heavens and were ultimately struck down. In hindsight, it's a chillingly perfect name for both ships. And it didn't stop at the name. It's how they were described. Both of them were hyped up using the exact same claim to fame. Robertson's fictional Titan was called the largest craft afloat. The real Titanic? It was, of course, launched as the largest ship in the world. Both of them were these massive monuments to human ambition.
And there it is again, that fatal word, unsinkable. The fictional Titanic was sold as practically unsinkable. The real Titanic was famously believed to be unsinkable. In both the book and in real life, this wasn't just a marketing slogan. It created this dangerous sense of complacency, this feeling that nothing could possibly go wrong.
Now look at the number of people on board. It's just uncomfortably close. Robertson's fictional ship was carrying 2,000 souls. The real Titanic, on its one and only voyage, had about 2,200 people. He imagined a tragedy on almost the exact same human scale as the one that would happen for real 14 years later.
Okay, if all the little details so far have been unsettling, this is the part of the story that's going to give you goosebumps. We are now arriving at the disaster itself, the moment of impact, where fiction and reality just slam into each other with terrifying precision.
The setting is identical. In Robertson's book, the Titan sinks in the icy North Atlantic on a cold night in April. In reality, the Titanic went down in the North Atlantic on the cold night of April 14th. It's that level of detail, not just the ocean, but the month, that makes you start to wonder if this could possibly be just a coincidence.
Just listen to this. These are Robertson's own words from 1898, describing the moment of impact for his fictional ship. He writes about the sheer, unstoppable force of this massive vessel hurtling through the dark. It's so vivid, so visceral. It honestly sounds like it could have been written by a survivor of the actual Titanic.
And here's the kicker. This wasn't just some random accident at sea. It was the exact same accident. In the book and in real life, both ships were steaming way too fast through iceberg territory, and both struck an iceberg on the starboard, or right-hand side. The mechanics of the disaster, they're a perfect match. It's just staggering.
And finally, the most heartbreaking parallel of all.
In both the story and in real life, the catastrophe was made so much worse because of one critical, completely avoidable failure: there weren't enough lifeboats. Not even close. Robertson's story even mentions the davits, the cranes for the lifeboats, getting smashed and twisted in the collision, which is exactly the kind of chaos that happened in the real disaster.
14. Let's just let that number sit there for a second. 14 years. This book wasn't written in 1911 as some kind of last-minute warning. It was published in 1898, a full 14 years before the RMS Titanic ever left the dock.
So, what in the world is going on here? That's the question, right? You have to ask. Was Morgan Robertson a psychic? Did he have some kind of terrifying vision of the future? Or is there another explanation, one that might be just as fascinating?
Well, to get to the bottom of it, you have to look at the man himself. And here's the thing about Morgan Robertson. He wasn't some mystic staring into a crystal ball. This guy was the son of a ship captain. He'd spent years of his life at sea. He didn't just write about ships, he knew them. He knew the ocean, and he knew its dangers firsthand.
So let's put on our skeptic's hat for a second and look at the logical argument. Robertson, the expert, saw exactly what was happening in the shipping industry. He saw companies racing to build bigger and faster ships to get that prestigious transatlantic route. He knew that calling a ship unsinkable was just part of the era's marketing bluster. He knew that any ship sailing the North Atlantic in April was rolling the dice with icebergs. And here's the most important part. He knew the safety rules were a joke. Lifeboat regulations were based on a ship's weight, not the number of people it carried. For these new, massive ships, that was a death sentence waiting to happen. So when you look at it that way, maybe he didn't need a vision. Maybe he just connected the dots.
So, we're left with these two competing ideas. On the one hand, you have a chilling prophecy. The details, the name, the month, the iceberg on the starboard side, they feel way too specific to just be a lucky guess. But on the other hand, you have an expert deduction. A man who knew the industry so well that he simply imagined the worst-case scenario by taking all the existing risks to their logical and tragic conclusion.
And in the end, that's the question this whole strange story leaves us with. Was this one of the most mind-blowing coincidences in all of history? Was it a genuine, terrifying glimpse into the future? Or was it something else entirely? A chilling warning from a man who just knew the sea and the foolishness of men all too well. What do you think? I'll let you be the judge of that one.